Thank you. Well, it's unusual for me because I don't usually tell stories about myself. I tell other people's stories. However, my name is Reg Birchfield. I went to Featherston Primary School, Wellington College, Kuranui College, and for those of you who ever watched 7 Days on a Friday night, this is my picture, story, whatever you wish to call it. For me, this particular story began on the 14th of January 1971, which is 40 years ago this year. And it started by walking down a rabbit warren corridor of an old building tucked away in Cable Car Lane in Wellington. And it wasn't one of those cute old Wellington buildings, it was just an old building. A small office of 3.5 rooms. The half was where a receptionist, had she been there, would have been. The other 2 offices were totally vacant, and one down the end, the only one with a view, I might add, was occupied by a gentleman who was, I suppose you could kindly put it, a little testy when I walked in. The point I'm getting to is that this was an office in which the occupant had lost his fortune. He had started 3 or so months earlier a small fortnightly newspaper, but within 3-4 months he'd run out of money. The editor, who got pissed off not being paid, had gone to Australia. The printer said, "We won't print any more issues of this newspaper." And so all was defunct, so to speak. However, a small group of 3 or 4 people decided that this newspaper had potential because it told stories that were quite different from the way in which traditionally they had been told in New Zealand. So a hustler decided that he would gather 2 or 3 of his friends together. The hustler was a gentleman who nowadays, of course, is still hustling. He owns a small company called South Pacific Films. He makes programs like Outrageous Fortune and a few others. One thing he was very good at was finding money. The people that he wanted, or that he approached to join with him in this particular venture, certainly didn't have any money. We were all 24, 25, with only 1 or 2 at that stage, of the 5 that you now have, but children, mostly with mortgages and other jobs. For my part, I was working as a senior reporter at the Sunday Star Times, and when I told Pamela that I was going to give up the salary and work for nothing for a period to see if we could get the newspaper off the ground, she wasn't particularly enamoured, but that's what we compromised. I kept the job and did the next one in the evenings and weekends. So I stayed working for the Sunday Times for about 6 months. One of the others that was a member of that crew was and who was pro bono, prepared to do all our legal work for us. He was an expert in libel and defamation, so he was absolutely essential to the process. He's now a QC and advises people and charges hourly rates that make my eyes water, and I assume most of us, that's what it would be like. And the third member of the group was a advertising and marketing man who also had a young family and but saw the potential of this particular adventure. And finally, the guy that we had taken over from was not a businessman, that's why it had gone broke, but he was an outstanding advertising salesman. Anyhow, I walked into the office, there was paper on the floor, there was an old typewriter, there were 2 out of 8 chairs that were capable of holding people. The other 6 weren't. But Henry, who was the ad salesman, had seen a job lot and bought them all for $10, I think it was. And from my perspective, that was the beginning of a fascinating journey when, for the next 13 years, we pulled together what had been a collapsed newspaper even before it got off the ground, and began to tell our stories differently. New Zealand up to that point had, in terms of its reporting of business and finance and leadership and economics and politics, not had an independent view and had not done the basic job of telling stories particularly well. 40 years on, and that's an institution. I can't say I'm particularly enamoured with it now, but it nevertheless is still there after 40 years. Mainly because for 10 or 12 years, a group of people gave their all to, I guess, inquiring into the politics of New Zealand, into the economics of New Zealand, and bringing business to life. Because up to that point, by and large, all that had happened was that the annual reports of companies had been reported, and the stories behind those annual reports, by and large, had not been told. Anyhow, that lasted, as I say, for about 12, 13 years, and then I realised that it was time to move on when the rest of the small group of shareholders decided they wanted to cash up and move out, and that was that. So that's the story of National Business Review, really. National Business Review, as I say, is still here, still around, still going well, and still telling stories. But one of the things I just wanted to suggest to you all, because it's a very easy way of getting across what I should have been doing, was to say to you that next week there will be a book launch called Stories at Work, which is, if for those of you who are really interested in using stories to do these things, such as provide you with a leadership tool, stories are the #1 way in which we learn and experience the world. And the business, leadership, management, whatever process is critical. And the stories need to be exchanged. People need to share their experiences, their learnings, their technical understanding, and increasingly, as we look at a disparate world, we need to explore new ways, totally different ways, because difference in tomorrow's world will make a huge difference to the way in which we tell our stories to the future. Thank you.